Most people think that we see reality, or that we feel it, touch it, smell it, etc. That what's out there is reality. But that doesn't make any sense, really. Because every creature experiences the world differently. Every human, even. Bats through echoes, bees through ultraviolet patterns, humans through a narrow sensory filter we mistake for the truth. And when evolution enters the picture, things get worse, because evolution doesn't reward truth. It rewards survival. So here's the real question. What if the world you experience isn't reality at all, just a survival interface? Physics, Consciousness and Reality. Dickie Dredd, Nigel Adams. And we're now on part 12 of the video series, and still on chapter 2, Beyond Physics, Mind, Evolution and Perception. So, section 9 in the book, Illusion and Perception, Icons, Interfaces and Survival. Now that we're all up to speed on the current state of physics, let's change tack. Physics today explains almost everything we see, apart from the really extreme cases. The Big Bang, black holes, dark matter and dark energy. And we covered that in one of the appendices earlier. But there's one thing it doesn't touch on at all. Consciousness. That bit still gets swept under the rug, as if it were an embarrassment. Recently, though, a few brave physicists have begun suggesting that maybe matter, energy, even space-time itself, aren't fundamental, as we discussed in the last section. They point towards exotic mathematics, high-dimensional structures, hidden realities from which our familiar space-time and matter to energy emerge. We should mention here that Einstein also showed us that matter and energy are equivalent, the famous equation everyone quotes without really understanding, E equals mc squared in other words. And here's where we stick our necks out. Maybe the true foundation isn't space-time, matter or energy. Maybe it's consciousness. That's the wild card. That's where this story may be heading. Just hold that thought for now, as it is simply a throwaway comment at this stage. If you're still with us, then it's time to bring evolution into the mix and see how the pieces might fit together. So what does evolution actually say about perspective? Most of us stroll around assuming we're seeing reality as it is. Take a tree, for example. You stand in front of it. You see it swaying, hear the leaves rustle, maybe smell its sap, touch its bark, and if you're a bit of a hippie, even lick and taste it and hug it. With all that sensory input, you assume the tree is real. That's common sense, right? But pause for a moment. A bat doesn't rely on sight. It maps the world through echoes. Its reality is nothing like yours. So which version is real one? Yours? The bat's? The person next to you might have even seen colours differently, or is under the influence of a drug. We'll come on to that soon. Physics can tell us the wavelength of light, sure, but it can't explain why red feels hot and urgent, or why green feels calm. That's qualia again, the inner flavour of experience, not just the bare data. Darwin's theory of evolution, natural selection and survival of the fittest, is well known, but most people don't realise that the modern version is built on highly mathematical game theory. Evolution doesn't reward truth, it rewards survival. That's the key point. When scientists run simulations using evolutionary game theory, they let different kinds of creatures compete in a virtual world. Some see reality as it really is, every detail. Others see only a simplified version, a stripped-down user interface that highlights just what's useful for survival. Again and again, the truth-seeing creatures lose. They get overwhelmed by information and are too slow to act, too costly to maintain. Simplified creatures win every time because they spend less energy and move faster. They don't care what reality is. They only care about what helps them eat, mate and avoid predators. Run the maths for long enough and it comes out the same every time. The probability that evolution would give us a clear, accurate view of reality is 0. Not unlikely, not a small number, 0. We don't see what's there. We see just enough to survive. Or as Richard Dawkins, the eminent if not somewhat controversial biologist might say, just enough to keep our DNA crawling forward through the generations with a bit of "how's your father?" That means when you look around, you're not seeing reality as it is. You're seeing a useful cartoon, an interface designed by evolution to keep your DNA rolling forward. Truth doesn't matter. Survival does. What we experience is a stripped down user interface, customised for survival. Each creature gets a different filter. To you, the tree looks like a tree. To the bat, it's a map of echoes. To a bee, it's ultraviolet patterns. Evolution doesn't care about the truth. It only cares about survival. There's nothing in the theory, or in any other scientific theory, that says what we see must be reality itself. A couple of analogies help. Donald Hoffman, a cognitive scientist who argues that perception is an adaptive interface rather than a direct view of reality, suggests thinking of it like flying a plane. In the cockpit, you've got dials and meters for altitude, speed, fuel and direction. You trust them because they keep you airborne, but you'd never confuse the dials with reality itself. They're symbols, abstractions, hiding the turbulence and physics behind the flight, and giving you something manageable. Or think of your laptop. You've got neat little icons on your desktop. You drag, drop, click. Behind that, the real story is electrons rushing around and circuits flipping on and off. If you had to stare at binary every time you wanted to open a file, you'd never get anything done. So you trust the icons, not because they're true, but because they're useful. That's how it is with perception. When you look at a tree, you're not seeing treeness in some ultimate sense. You're seeing a survival icon, a cartoon designed to keep you from being paralysed by infinite detail. From evolution's point of view, we don't see objective reality. We see dials, we see icons, and here's the sting in the tail. That applies to your body and your brain too. They're icons, useful, functional, but not ultimate reality. If you accept that we never see reality as it is, then we're finally ready to start bringing the threads together. But before we do that, we'll have a few detours into some interesting areas that come with these assertions. So what this section shows is the thing we call reality may only be a simplified interface built for survival. If that's true, then colours, objects, bodies, even the sense of self might be more like icons on a screen than fundamental. Which means the problem isn't just whether physics can explain consciousness. It might be that consciousness is the thing constructing the world we think we're explaining. And if that's the case, what exactly is hiding behind that interface? Right, next up, we go to Chapter 2, Beyond Physics, Mind, Evolution and Perception, or we're still in that Chapter 2, I should say. And we'll have a little detour into Section 11, which is, Are We Living in a Simulation? And the book, just waiting for a new quote because I shrunk the size of the book down and get them delivered. I really hope I can get them delivered by the end of this week or something like that. Then I can start flogging them to you all.